welcome the archer from Cote d'Ivoire and Chad. On target 1, representing Cote d'Ivoire, Jumbo Ismail, Iani Frank. On target 2, representing Chad, Alas Maria Martin, Madei Israel. The judges line, Fabien Sidi from Tunisia.
So here we go. Time to go for gold here. Ivory Coast against Chad in the recurve mixed team competition. Semi Diombo and Frank Ayeni lining up for the Ivory Coast. Chad have Martin Abefuta and Israel Madai on their lineup. The winner takes a quota spot at Paris 2024. And up to the line first, it's the Ivory Coast. First arrows drifting left for both Diombo and Aini. Oh, that's gone way wide.
We could see her struggling as she was approaching the clicker, just shaking a little bit, struggling just to finish the final part of the draw, and ended up being too forceful. Cote d'Ivoire, they have a great chance here.
So Chad in with a chance here. Two with the first arrow. Martin Abefuta. She looks like she's clipped the 9 there, and that is a remarkable turnaround through the second half of that first set. Looks like the set points have gone with Chad. Bernardo, before we get cracking into the match, because it's so important, let's just do a quick refresher on the points and how they're going to work here.
Absolutely. We have a scoring system similar to what we saw earlier today with the recurve teams, the teams with 3 archers of the same gender. So here teams are looking for a 5 set point victory. They need the 5 set points is the threshold for victory and for gold medal, and more important than that, the Olympic qualification. So it seems Chad has won this first set, so they take 2 set points. 2-set point to 0 against Cote d'Ivoire, but again, it's a set system, so everybody starts from 0 in the next set, so it doesn't matter by how many points you lost in the previous set. You just need to outscore the opponent team by a single point to take the set and then get 2 set points.
After the first end, the score 0 for Cote d'Ivoire. Two for the Chad.
So confirmation there that Chad have nicked the first set, 2 set points to 0. And Ivory Coast, or Cote d'Ivoire, as Bernardo said, will shoot first in the second set.
And they've got the support of the crowd. We can hear that, trying to cheer their team on.
Maybe 10.
Yeah, very solid shooting.
Yeah, and IE trying to bounce back straight away.
Israel didn't seem too happy with his shot, but he's 100% within the gold. And that's great stuff in a match like this, consistency.
9.
It looks like Abafuta has shaken off the nerves. Ivory Coast, though, with a 1-point lead at the halfway stage, but that's drifted out left. 5 and a 6 on her second arrow so far.
Yeah, Diombo in the last set, she also shot an arrow in the blue. In that same region, she's making the same mistake.
9.
So a 34 set by Ivory Coast. 38 available to Chad. This would be some start from them.
Oh, could see Israel losing a little bit of tension, and it ended up being a low 8. To be honest, I think that's even pretty good for the mistake he had. And this is what we want, you know, the mistakes to be as close as possible to the center of the target. Great opportunity here.
Well, that's an 8 or a 9. That should be enough.
8, maybe 9.
Enough for a share of the points if it's an 8. Enough for a 4-0 lead if it gets marked up to a 9. And we wait in anticipation for the measure from the target judge. And this is so critical because the winning team here, it's only the winning team in the mixed team competition get a mixed team quota. Now, just to be clear about the quota, it's for the country, not for the 2 athletes that we're watching right now. It could well be that Ivory Coast and Chad select these 2 athletes should they qualify, but it's not guaranteed.
Exactly. So not only you have to win the quota for your country later, however your country decides to do the selection process for the Olympics, it's a whole different story. And once again, we're having a match where everything is being decided on the lines, whether the arrow cut the line or not, and everything being checked with the magnifying glass by the judge down the range. It's very fine margins. Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, they've been struggling a little bit, but still, Chad is like so close. They won the first set by a single point. Now they might be splitting the points. It's everything is so close. And why I was saying that Diombo, she was making the same mistake. Sometimes we as archers, we insist on the mistake, you know, and because you want to have the perfect feeling, and then you're not shooting arrows the way you want in the final match. But sometimes it's just a matter of adjusting the sight, you know. Just accept that you're making this mistake today, and as long as you keep on doing it consistently, it'll be in the 10 if you adjust your sight.
And 0 for Cote d'Ivoire, 4 for Chad.
So that 8 was marked up to a 9 for a 35 for Chad, and they are 4 set points to 0 up. And this is one commanding position to be in going into the third set, as the target is 5 points. Ivory Coast need to shoot some big arrows early in this set. Oh, the pressure of Olympic qualification showing on the face of his mate Diombo.
It's a more solid start from the Ivory Coast. Chad has to keep the pressure up. I get a feeling that Israel is struggling a little bit, but news is that he's really consistent, and that this is exactly what you want, that no matter how you shoot your arrows, they're still more or less there in the center of the target. You don't have to be shooting 10s all the time.
9.
And I think that first arrow by Alas was just the nerves, right? After that, she's back at it, so solid in the gold.
Olympic hopes hanging in the balance here. Great finish for a 36 there. Best score so far, but a gettable target for Chad. They can afford 2 9s here, and they'll qualify a mixed team for Paris 2024. There's one of them. Now, Martine Abaifuta. Can she make history for Chad? That's drifted way out into the 6 for a 33, and it looks like Ivory Coast have been given a reprieve here. Chad still leading 4 set points to 2, but the pressure on Martine Abaifuta clear to see.
Yes, it's really tricky to perform a shot in these conditions, you know. Even though you try not to think about scores, you try not to think about the outcome, you can't help but get on the shooting line and know that it's all in your hands, you know. It's really tricky. I think in the beginning we saw Martine Abaifuta dealing the pressure, and in this last arrow, definitely. Cote d'Ivoire reacted at the right moment. The reaction came at a perfect moment, and now, but they're still trailing. Like Chad is still in a comfortable situation, so Both teams, they just got to focus on their own thing, and it's much easier said than done.
Yeah, much easier said than done. That is such a tricky situation here because Chad will be shooting second again. And if it comes down to that final arrow again, it's going to fall again on Martin Abefuta. However, the teams could change their order, couldn't they?
They could, and you know, if I was the coach, I would tell Israel to shoot the opening arrow and the last one, and then you leave Martina Abefuta in the middle, because I think that relieves her some of the pressure, and this could prove critical. But let's see how they're going to play it this time.
Set number 4, Ivory Coast fought back in the third, still trail by 4 set points to 2. And Ismay Diombo, the 20-year-old, will start the set.
The wind is picking up. We could see her bowsling waving in the wind, and her arrow landed to the left. It's up to A&E to maybe compensate a little bit.
Oh, he does. He does.
And he looks cold as ice. The guy is shooting really, it's really impressive on such a match, needing a recovery, and he looks really cold. Bad news for Chad. Let's see how they react.
Uh-oh. That is problematic. And he's not happy about that, Israel Madaye. In some respects, it takes the pressure off Martin Abefuta. Oh, she's gone left as well.
Yes, and I think it's not just the wind. I think they are feeling the pressure. Cote d'Ivoire is managing a very solid reaction here, and things are looking complicated for Chad. But again, easier said than done. They just have to forget about these mistakes. Just accept that very likely this set is over, and they need to come with everything they've got for the shoot-off.
Yeah, if they're feeling pressure now, if it comes down to that mini set shoot-off, oof. And that puts it out of reach. This has got to be a rehearsal now for Madaye and Abefuta. They know the set's gone, and they know they're going to face a shoot-off here.
Exactly. Just take it as practice. It's a kind of a little warm-up before the one arrow that counts for each archer, the shoot-off.
Two high eights. They're in a similar place. So, well, just to conclude on that set, 36 plays 27. Ivory Coast have come from 4-0 down to tie it up at 4 apiece after the 4 regulation sets. And we will have a shoot-off here at the African Championships of 2023 in the mixed team recurve competition for a place at Paris 2024.
Judges signal.
And now the Chad supporters making themselves heard. The crowd cheering, it can really be a factor. Like sometimes you can really be distracted by your opponents, the crowd and the teammates cheering them on. But wow, it can't be any more dramatic than this, right? The Olympic quota, like everybody has been training so hard for the past 3 years. We're having a shorter Olympic cycle now, but it all can come down to a single arrow. It's, yeah, it can't be more dramatic than this. You just gotta keep it simple. Just focus on one thing in your technique, go with it, make it simple, and hope for the best.
So we'll alternate between the archers. Ivory Coast shooting first. Chad have not changed their order. So if it comes down to it, all the pressure is going to land on the shoulders of Chad's Martin Abefuta. First up, though, Ismay Diombo. Shoot off for Paris 2024. Seven to the left again. Room for improvement.
Yeah, she lost a little bit of tension right at the end. I wonder if the wind played a little factor. We could hear it through the microphone. It's an opportunity for Chad.
Oh, a big opportunity, and that could be the difference. What a huge amount of pressure relieved from Martin Abefuta. It's all on Frank Ioni here. A 10 really is the order of the day. Puts it into the 8 for a 15. So a 5, and we'll have a measure. And even so, a 5 would be enough for Chad because they've hit the 10. 5 for a place at Paris 2024. Well, that's not the right target, but the celebrations seem to show that that was a good arrow for Chad. We didn't see it, but it does look from the celebrations from the Chad coach and the athletes that Chad have won this African Championship Recurve mixed team gold medal. And with it, there we go. It's an 8. With that championship win, they've taken their place at Paris 2024. Chad with a quota and history being made. Marlies Hurtoy took a place and qualified for the Olympic Games in Tokyo 2020, but no man from Chad has ever done the same thing. And whatever the outcome here, whether these two go to Paris 2024 or not, Chad have made history here by qualifying a mixed team for the Olympic Games.
The gold medal.
We see totally different kinds of tears here. It's, yeah, these things happen in sport. The Cote d'Ivoire crying because they've just missed on the qualification for Paris, and Chad crying out of joy because they've managed to qualify 2 athletes into the games. Wow, what a dramatic finish.
2 sides of the same coin. The one of joy with Chad, the one of despair with the Ivory Coast.